Hey YouTube, just a little update here between prophecy updates. I promise I got more coming. This building that you see right here is a bowling alley. I was here yesterday and check this out. You see the for sale sign on it? Well, unfortunately, it wasn't getting enough business and they stripped it down to rebuild it into something else. Why does this matter? Well, it matters because that's where this ministry was born. This book is absolutely fantastic. This is an incredible book. Dave Roberson has passed on just in recent years, but in chapter 2 of that book, he started his ministry in that bowling alley. He started by taking a little side room, a little 8x8 room, and the Lord called him into ministry, and he didn't know how to go about it. So he actually resigned from his job and stayed in this room 8 hours a day praying in tongues. And not to spoil the story, but in chapter 2, he prayed in tongues for nearly 3 months, 8 hours a day. And he went to like a Bible study prayer meeting, and he said it was about as dull could get. But he looked over at this lady that was sitting next to him, and like this vision of an x-ray popped up in front of him. And he said, you have arthritis. Can I pray for you? And the lady got healed right on the spot in front of this whole place. And his ministry was born out of that. So that's why that little bowling alley is interesting to me. So my question for you, I'd like your feedback. Last night I was talking about this with my wife, and I read the entire chapter 2 to my wife because, I was at that bowling alley earlier in the day. Would you be interested if I made audiobooks for the YouTube channel? Because I have 3 or 4 bookshelves of Christian books, like stuff like this, not just boring religious stuff, but stuff like power and stuff about deliverance, stuff about healing, stuff about finances. I've got all of it. Am I someone you could listen to if I read you a book? But it would only be serious Christian content, no sleepy nap time stuff. The other thing I want to ask you about before I get out of here, if you've known me for any period of time, you know that I like praying for the sick and that it's part of the ministry that I do. I'm not just about prophecy. The Bible is about more than just end time prophecy. And Jesus called us to preach the gospel, and I don't feel like I'm a fancy talker sometimes, so I got to bring something that, can prove my point. Paul said that I didn't come with persuasive see? I didn't come with persuasive speech and wisdom of men, but in demonstration of the Spirit and power. He said the kingdom is not in word, but in power. So in just the last several weeks, I've actually had several testimonies of people telling me that, when I prayed for them, Jesus healed them. I left his name out in case he wants his privacy, but here's one of them. If you go back to the video that's got this thumbnail, it's another one of them. And then last night, I went to pick up my mail, and the lady at the pickup place told me she's had Crohn's disease for a long time, and I prayed for her. And I told her, well, the Lord's heard your prayers, and here I am to pray for you. So I believe these signs follow them that believe. They'll lay hands on the sick and they'll recover. So now you're going to recover. So what's all this leading to? Well, I'm planning a mission trip in a month. So if somehow these rapture watches, I don't know the date, I can watch, but I'm still planning to occupy till he comes. If I am planning this mission trip to Brazil. I guess my last question before I go, is that something that people would be willing to support? Because this thing with my wife and I, 8 to 10 grand, I think. So leave me some feedback. Leave me some comments. What do you think? Because I'm more than just a prophecy watcher. I believe in spreading the kingdom through what the Lord has given us authority to do, and I've seen evidence that it works. So, I don't see any reason why I shouldn't attempt to go harder at it. So Jesus is Lord. Jesus, is still the same yesterday, today, and forever. He still heals. And if your church says that, the gifts ceased with the apostles, they're lying to you. All these things are still for today. I'm walking, talking proof of it because I see it all the time. Jesus is Lord. God bless.